Welcome, everybody. It is Sunday, May 15th, 2022. It's a beautiful spring day here in western Massachusetts. I'm Robin, and I'm so glad to be here today, welcoming you to the Morgellons Call of the Week. I'm so grateful for this call, for our supportive community, and for Richard Kuhns, who has recently released the 11th edition of How to Get Your Life Back from Morgellons and Other Skin Parasites, just chock full of wonderful things that, wonderful solutions towards dealing with this horrible situation that we have found ourselves in, and also the incredible diet or eating plan, which in itself, some people consider a cure. So Richard is very unique. He has never stopped researching, learning, seeking answers, and sharing them with us, his research team, and helping. He's here every week. He's in the trenches with us, and so at this time I want to welcome Richard Kuhns.
Thank you, Robin. It's so wonderful to be here every week to support each and every one of you. Robin and I and Mary know that it's not an easy path, but what we do know is that it works. It works. We don't guess here. This topic today is about glutathione. What the heck is glutathione? Now, I will be making some recommendations, and maybe Robin too, as we go along today. So I want to get clear with the FDA so I don't get smacked. The FDA requires me to inform everybody on this call that we are not medical doctors, that before you start the King diet or accept any of our recommendations, that you discuss them with your doctor to make sure they do not interfere with any health problems that you may be presently experiencing. The AMA and FDA also requires and tell you, like I said, we're not doctors, so we're not trained to diagnose. That's not our purview. We don't diagnose, treat, mitigate, or cure any disease or skin disease. Everything is for educational purposes. So what we are allowed to do is to educate you how to utilize the King diet for your best advantage, how to clean organisms out of your skin, which, by the way, they say doesn't exist, but anyway, and how to clean them out of your environment, and how to build health and immune functioning through targeted supplements. And the purpose of our meeting today, the topic, is glutathione. Now, last week, we looked at what makes Morgellons the monster that it is. And I like to compare Morgellons to the king on a chess set. Now, when there are different pieces, there's the queen. The king is the most powerful, but yet kind of the weakest too. He's the most significant, but yet can be easily taken by any piece of on the opponent. You are the opponent, and Morgellons is defended by bishops, rooks, pawns. What's the other piece called? Well, I forget because I don't play chess.
Castle.
Yeah. Rook,
Castle.
Yeah.
What's he called?
Castle. There's castle, rook, bishop, rook, pawns. I think that's.
Yeah, but the castle has a different name. Or well, anyway, that's the idea.
I'm sorry. Castle is a rook, and the other one is the knight.
Right, the knight. That's the one. The knight. So so these.
It's not the bishop, right?
I mean, there are many, many different medical conditions that we have on an ongoing basis. And many of them can be dormant in our bodies for years. I mean, we can have, just about everybody has intestinal parasites, everybody. And most of us are not even troubled by them. They just kind of live in harmony with us, and maybe life isn't 100% because of them, but our doctors don't test for them. But once Morgellons comes into the picture, then these diseases that may be dormant, such as Lyme disease, could be dormant for decades. Strongyloides could be dormant for decades. It seems that once Morgellons comes along, all these, I call them cofactors, wake up and defend the king. So last week was about looking at, oh gosh, I think we looked at probably 20 different cofactors that contribute to making Morgellons hell on earth. And we noted that many people who are in the field, such as I am, to support people in dealing with Morgellons, get pigeonholed. They have their personal experience from which they go upon, and then they say, well, okay, Morgellons is a fungus because this antifungal cream cured me, or this antifungal medication cured me. Therefore, Morgellons is fungal. And then you have the other doctors who claim it's spirochetal, Lyme disease, and gosh, you take the antibiotics and you get cleared up and you kind of like think you're cured. Oh, therefore, Morgellons is Lyme disease. You know, that's the culprit. You got to get rid of Lyme disease. And then you have the people who use supersaturated potassium iodide, and you look at, oh, no, it's not spirochetal, it's not fungal, it's what is that? Rose disease. You fall into the rose, spirochetosis or something of that nature. So that's their pigeonhole. Well, the point is that it is not the same cofactors for all of us. In fact, we can have various cofactors, not just one, but several at the same time. And when we knock off the cofactor, really, like for instance, I noted last week one fellow claimed he was cured with taking baking soda, sodium bicarbonate, and that cured him. Well, it turns out that the basic antidote for Morgellons is said, I'm not claiming this, but said to be boron, and the source that's referenced says a pinch of borax would do it. We like to use boron tablets because you can, you want to go up to about 30 milligrams and not more than that. And it makes sense to control the quality. And alkalizing your system. Well, sodium bicarbonate is a way of alkalizing the system. And so what he's telling us is that he didn't have any cofactors, actually. He just had Morgellons, and that's possible. And he had no knights or castles or rooks or defending his king. He just knocked it off with sodium bicarbonate because apparently his body didn't need any more boron, or he was maybe already taking it and didn't note it that he was. So the idea, now why are we so successful with the King diet and our approach? Well, Robin said earlier that King diet is like a cure. And I'm glad she said like a cure, because there is no cure, all right? There is no cure for Morgellons or any of the skin parasites, because we can forevermore be susceptible to them and get reinfected and go through it again. The good news is that we know what to do. So we can educate you how to build health and immune functioning. So the reason why we are often successful is because of one particular substance in the human body that is lacking for most of us, and that is glutathione. Now, honestly, my background, I came from operating a stress management facility for nearly 20 years, from I guess the 80s and the 70s into the 90s, and did nutritional counseling, and never even heard of glutathione. Never. So, I mean, if somebody wanted to boost their immune functioning or something of that nature, I would go by Linus Pauling's approach. You take a lot of vitamin C, vitamin A, take zinc, and build your immune functioning that way. So, all of a sudden, about maybe 12 or 13 years ago, someone had shared with me and actually had given me a sample, a month's supply of a substance to boost glutathione. It was called Max 1, all right? And I had no idea what it would do, if anything at all. It was, she was a client, just like each and every one of you, on my mailing list, and she had asked questions, and we had interchanged. So she, out of the goodness of her heart, sent me a month's supply. At that time, I was suffering from chronic Lyme disease. Now, Robin said that I'm in the trenches. Well, I am. I have suffered with Columbella, Morgellons, chronic Lyme, Strongyloides cervicalis, skin fungus, hot tub rash, just about everything that you guys could imagine suffering from. I had it, and I'm here and free of it. So, but after taking the month's supply of this glutathione booster, and I'll tell you what the difference is, why I'm calling it a booster in a moment, I noticed my chronic Lyme disease had improved about, 90%. That was amazing. I could sleep through the night without constant 24/7 pain. The inflammation was gone. I could drive my car without having to use a stick to push on the gas pedal to accelerate because it was so painful to put my foot on. I could start writing my name without my hand going all over the page and not coming up with anything. So I started looking into this thing called glutathione and why nobody has heard of it. And what confuses me still to this day, the experts, Dr. Klinghardt. I imagine just about everybody on this call has heard of Dr. Klinghardt. He's a world-renowned expert when it comes to dealing with Lyme disease and other. He got into COVID-19 as well because he himself contracted it. And then there's Dr. Horowitz, also a long-term proponent. Cat's claw, that's, the type of approach he uses. And not one of these experts, and then we have the people who are associated with the Charles Holman Association treating Morgellons as AKA Lyme disease. They're not talking about glutathione either. Oh, by the way, I just want to be upfront, and if you're dealing with Morgellons, and that's characterized by filaments or fibers growing from your skin, that's all. That's what makes Morgellons. Whether you have lesions or not lesions, or bumps under your skin, or it's goo and biofilm, that's immaterial. If you've got filaments and fibers growing from your skin, that's Morgellons, and all the other the symptoms are like cofactors that are caused by something or other. So then, really, what you should do because I'm not a medical doctor and I'm not here to replace any medical doctor, and that is you should give a call to one of the doctors in Chapter 6, such as Dr. Saverly, Dr. Cornish, and set up an appointment for an evaluation. I understand you have to pay $200 in advance, and then I think the appointment, somebody mentioned it last week, is about $450. And they're not going to schedule you next week. It'll be maybe a month and a half before you get the appointment. All right, so do that. Now, while you're sitting there, instead of being in misery like we all are, start the diet, read the book, come to the program, complete the questionnaire, be in this conference call. Do what you can to make your life better. And it just may turn out that by the time that rolls around, you won't need that appointment. But we're not treating you. We're not mitigating. We are simply educating you how to get them out of your skin, out of your body, and out of your environment. So glutathione is a substance that exists in every cell of your body, every cell. And it's a tripeptide. That's the technical term for it. It's made up of 3 amino acids. There is glycine and glutamine. Now, they generally are in abundant supply. The other protein is L-cysteine. Now, that one, for some reason or other, is in limited supply. So you've got 2 buddies running around, glycine and glutamine, and they're lonely and they're looking for L-cysteine, and it's not much there. They can't connect very much because there's not much there. Now, in foods that we eat, you find the L-cysteine in meats and some vegetables like red peppers. There's a whole list of foods. But it's just like vitamin C. If you could never drink enough orange juice to get the amount of vitamin C, and you can never eat enough food to get the amount of L-cysteine that your body needs. So when these 3 combine, they form a tripeptide. And this tripeptide is easily destroyed by various things. So I'll go through what destroys it first. They say after age 20, your body produces about 10% less each decade. So that when you get to my age, your body, I'm in my mid-70s, you're producing 50% less than you should be or want to be. Add to that, exposure to radiation diminishes uses up, your body uses up. Glutathione is like a protector. It's when it protects you from radiation. So when you're exposed to radiation, radiation destroys it, and you have to make more. Radiation can be cosmic from the sun, can be from EMF, any kind of electrical source, cellular, can be from microwaves. So that's all the different types of radiation. It can be from the nuclear power plant in Japan, radiation drifting over. So that's one thing that depletes glutathione. Physical injury. So if you hurt yourself, and illnesses, well, what the hell is Morgellons but an illness? And what the hell are all the cofactors but illnesses? So the fact that Morgellons has come into the picture and activated all these cofactors, wow, your glutathione goes down the tubes. You don't have enough. Poor eating habits, junk food, lack of sleep. Well, I don't know of anybody who's come to me brand new into the program who is getting 8 hours of comfortable sleep. Although many times people, when they make the diet kick in, they say they get to sleep for the first time for 8 hours. But just about everybody coming to this program, there's a lack of sleep. That uses up glutathione. Many medications I mean, I cannot believe the medical industry pushing Tylenol. It has acetaminophen in it, and acetaminophen uses up glutathione. There are probably 10 or 15 different, they're called NSAIDs, types of medications, different names other than Tylenol, that are often prescribed or suggested by medical physicians to relieve you of pain. All right. So all of this diminishes the glutathione, means that your store is getting empty. I mean, try to find baby formula. Well, try to find glutathione in somebody who's exposed with all of this. Over-exercising, well, that may not apply to most of us. In fact, this supplement is number one used by bodybuilders because they overexert, and it helps by boosting glutathione. It cuts down the recovery time by as much as 50%, so they can get back and exercising more. Well, aging, well, that's me, and like I said, 10% reduction every decade. All right, here's a big one. Pollution. Well, may not be as big as it was 20 or 30 years ago when you walked down the street and you had automobiles puffing out their black smoke and the buses passing by and the black smoke coming out. But now we may not necessarily see the black smoke, but it's still pollution coming from gasoline engines, coming from all the sources, air pollution, water pollution, food pollution. And then we have habits. Alcohol. So every time you have a drink, I mean, drink moderately. There's no drink that doesn't affect something. So if any drinking, it's moderate. But on the King Diet, stage 1, alcohol, no go. Drugs, no matter what the drugs, smoking, all of this uses up glutathione. Now, when glutathione is depleted, I mean, all right, let's put it into perspective. PubMed, a recognized place where research is published of significance, there are 50,000 studies about vitamin C and the benefit to vitamin C in your health. Just about everybody knows about vitamin C. Even your doctor knows about vitamin C. It may suggest extra vitamin C. I mean, who doesn't know about vitamin C? But do you know how many studies are published about glutathione? Not 10,000, not 20, 30, or 40. 80,000 about the benefits to eyesight, to heart health, to skin health, to everything. 80,000. You know, I bet you if you ask your doctor about glutathione, he probably and then come up with some kind of response, trying to tell you he thinks he knows what it is, but he doesn't. Probably doesn't. So, and the interesting thing about it is low glutathione. Now, I said over age 20, it's depleted, but even children, many of them, because of their diet or circumstances, autism. If you know anybody with autism, the first thing you want to do is get them to boost the glutathione. Notice significant differences. Heart disease, macular degeneration, Lyme disease, Morgellons disease, all of this. Glutathione is in short supply, just like baby formula is right now, and it's not helping. Now, what is the function of glutathione? Well, if you look at the function, it becomes apparent as to why this substance is so important, because it has more than one job. I mean, there are many additives or supplements that you can take, and they're single job, one job. But number one, inflammation. Every disease known to man, every disease is compounded and associated with inflammation. This is why vegans eat vegan, because they avoid eating as many of the foods as possible that can contribute to inflammation. So glutathione happens to be the body's main anti-inflammatory agent. It enables hemoglobin to carry more oxygen. Now, here is probably the most important, because we've all read that Morgellons affects your DNA. It can rewrite your DNA. That is called free radical damage. There are many things that can rewrite your DNA. So, that are even made in the body. Peroxidase, for instance, can rewrite your DNA. So what glutathione does, it protects your DNA from free radical damage to preserve your genetic code so that you don't end up with spin-off cells of a genetic difference that mutate and are not good for you to have in your body. So that is super important, because free radical damage is probably the contributing factor to most, if not all, diseases. And glutathione stands up and is the only thing that actually protects the DNA, to my knowledge. Well, we're just getting started here. Every one of us, our cellular structure has you see toxicity. When you consume foods, when you breathe in toxicity, whether it's from pesticides or whether it's pesticides on or in the fruits and foods that we eat. We get mercury from fish. We get mercury from other sources. We get cadmium, we get nickel. You see, the body doesn't flush these things out. The pesticides, they accumulate, they stay. They're not water soluble, so they don't get flushed out. And they contribute to our bodies becoming toxic. Now, this is a particular welcome opportunity for spirochetes. You do research. Go to Google. Start searching Lyme disease. Start searching what spirochetes love, what their food sources are. You know, first thing you're going to find out is they love toxicity. They live in a cesspool. And the more toxic your body is, the more toxic your cellular structure is, the happier they are. Well, it turns out that glutathione is a major detoxifier. It cleans out pesticides, heavy metals, nickel, lead, cadmium, and so on. I mean, we have this big deal in the country with all these lead pipes they're finding. Well, it's a good idea to get rid of lead, absolutely. It affects your brain health. But everybody who lives with a lead pipe should be boosting their glutathione, because the glutathione will get rid of that lead. Dr. Ammon, a doctor who was in the book, and his approach to dealing with Morgellons is mercury toxicity. He may have added to his scope much as I've added to my protocol over the years, but his thing is get rid of all the amalgam fillings, $10,000, $12,000, to get rid of that mercury. That's it. Well, guess what glutathione does? It detoxifies. It gets rid of mercury. So Why did I get relief after boosting my glutathione for just 1 month? I got detoxified. The inflammation in my knee was 150, 200%. I got the anti-inflammatory aspects of glutathione. It did its job. And this is one of the reasons why this protocol is so damn popular and successful, because it goes after a lot of the rooks and the bishops that are and the pawns that are defending the king. Well, let's continue, because I'm not done yet. With every cell in your body has maybe 1,000 friendly viruses. They're called mitochondria. They are the furnaces of your cell. If they burn too fast, you have premature death of the cell. If they are sluggish and not very alive, then the cell's not happy and is going to probably not be doing its job. So glutathione modulates the mitochondria. Now, this gets into ATP, and gosh, we could do a whole program. Of course, I'd have to do some studying to come up, but ATP is a tremendous substance that is of significant value in your body, and without it, you're a goner. So they say you can live, maybe 5 minutes at most without breathing air. You can live, maybe 4 or 5 days without drinking water. You can live maybe 6, 7, 8 weeks without eating food. Take away glutathione and you're dead in 3 months. Now, another thing, and we're just about to wrap up the significance of glutathione, is that, like Linus Pauling, a noted Nobel winner, he passed away back in the 90s, I believe, but it's obvious he had no knowledge of the benefits of glutathione, just as Horowitz and Klinghardt and Saverly and many others really don't recognize its value. They'd rather focus on things like, what is that, SOD? It's an enzyme that works intracellularly as an anti-inflammatory, superoxide dimutase. It's significant, but and there is another protocol of Morgellons that says that that's what you need to boost. Well, hey, this is what it does. It's an anti-inflammatory. It's only like first base with glutathione. So yeah, go ahead, take side, but man, do not mess around and skip glutathione. That's where you want to be, because glutathione also recycles vitamin C, vitamin A, and E. It helps manage those significant, vital, important vitamins, and also alpha lipoic acid. So it has so many functions that we cannot ignore it. And I don't understand why the medical community does ignore it, because, if you are poisoned by arsenic and rushed to the hospital, the first damn thing they're going to do, they're going to give you a shot of glutathione. That's what they're going to do. So why don't they do it every day? Well, part of it might be that they don't recognize or know how to significantly boost glutathione. You can go to the health food store and buy reduced glutathione on the shelf in a bottle for about $17 or $18. Now, it probably has ingredients in it that are going to be a problem with the king diet. But the bigger problem is, and you can research this on your own and see that this is so, is that Glutathione, as I said, it's a large tripeptide molecule, and when you consume it by mouth, your stomach thinks it's food and chews it up. So it's like eating meat. Remember, L-cysteine it comes from meat. It's like eating meat to the stomach. So a little bit gets through and gets into your body, and you might boost glutathione by maybe 25 or 30%. And yeah, for some people, that's going to make a difference. They're going to feel a little bit better. There are other glutathione boosters. There's one made from whey. I forget the name of it, but all this information is on another site that I have. It's called glutathione4health.com. And there's also a patch you can put on your arm. They're about $70 for a month. Well, of course, the one made from whey is a problem because whey is not on the diet, and that's a problem. And again, the other thing too is that what makes the Max 1 of significant value is that it is completely compatible with the diet. Completely compatible with the diet. And how this fellow who invented it or discovered it, he's a Japanese researcher, what he did was he took D-ribose, which is a very high quality natural sugar, and bonded it with L-cysteine, so that both of them get through the stomach and directly into your cells. Now, I haven't even talked about the other aspect of this supplement, and that is the D-ribose. We just talked about what L-cysteine does. It combines with the other two amino acids and produces glutathione. And we talked about the mitochondria, the furnaces in the body. But do you know what the natural food is for these furnaces, the mitochondria? D-ribose. D-ribose. So this is an incredible discovery that unfortunately very few professionals actually use. I don't know why, but that's it. So to wrap it up, glutathione is building it significant in dealing with all the rooks, the bishops, and the pawns on this defending the king. And as you knock off the Lyme disease, you know, if you're wondering about Lyme disease, I don't want to scare anybody on this program, but I'm going to be upfront with you. The research done, now, Lyme disease back in the 70s scared the hell out of me. I saw a lady die from it. And she just kind of withered away, and it was terrible. And I was scared of it all my life, and then when I finally beat the skin parasites and came down with chronic Lyme disease, it was like, oh God, my life is over and I never got to live it. Son of a bitch, was my thought. And I was scared as hell. But I'll tell you what, the research done by reported on the Charles Holman Association by Middleveen, who is in Canada, more in the veterinarian field, but microbiology, and Dr. Strickler, they find that 90% of the people who have, or maybe more, this is just a pilot study, are dealing with Lyme disease. That means 9 out of 10 of us have dealt with Lyme disease. And for me, it was dormant for many years. And then after I went off the antibiotics to deal with Morgellons from Dr. Bransfield, it surfaced. And it was miserable. But, like I said, boosting glutathione makes one hell of a bit of difference. And we have many, I don't know of any other program, because I don't go around, I don't see how many other programs there are, and I don't know if anybody keeps statistics, but I think we have a higher percentage of people getting their life back from Morgellons and other skin parasites than any other program on this planet. That's what I think. But so anyway, Robin, do you have anything to add to it? How you've used boosted glutathione? Haven't you?
Oh yeah, I take Max one every day, and I love it. But I didn't know half of the things you've told us about glutathione today. It's amazing, really amazing.
Isn't it? It's incredible. Mary, are you using or have you used it, or haven't you gotten into glutathione, boosting it yet?
I have a problem with the one. I have a reaction to it, but
really,
my immune system is really weak. I'm on IV meds monthly just for my immune system. So you had recommended to me the N-acetylcysteine.
Right. Yes. NAC.
I just started that the other day, and I seem to be doing pretty well with it.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because another way of boosting glutathione is using NAC. It is not as predictable, and you're limited in the amount of NAC that you can take a day. I forget whether it's 6 capsules a day or 3 capsules a day, but if you go beyond that and you're not drinking enough water, it can contribute to kidney stones. And I've never had them, but they can be, from what I'm told, one of the most excruciating experiences that anybody can ever have. So the other thing, and I'm glad you mentioned that, is that with the Max 1, they recommend 2 capsules a day as maintenance. And by taking 2 capsules a day, I had mentioned earlier, and I'm really glad you said that, Mary, because it's triggered some other information. And that is, I mentioned earlier, if you take the glutathione, reduced glutathione you get in the health food store, you might get a boost of 30% or 40%. Well, 2 capsules a day, this is a boost of approximately 270%. 270%. So you would have to take about 7 or 8 of those capsules a day to get the equivalent of what you're doing here. It's incredible. And then the other thing to be cautious about is, as I noted earlier, glutathione is a detoxifier. So when it starts releasing all these toxins in your body, you're going to have Herxheimer happening. So you maybe want to have zeolite on hand. You get that from Amazon. The other option is our complete amino acid formula, which unfortunately is again out of stock, and we don't know when we're going to get it in, hopefully by the end of the month, along with digestive enzymes. That's another way to deal with detox reactions. So 2 capsules a day is maintenance. I had once on vacation, I was in Hawaii, and I pulled a muscle in my groin when I stood up at the beach, and I could barely walk. And when I pull a muscle like that, it generally takes me maybe as much as 6 weeks to get back to where I'm kind of walking. And I happen to take this with me because I know how important it is. And I started taking 8 capsules a day, and within about 36 hours, I was walking normally. So again, if you go back to what I noted earlier, physical injury depletes the body of, and a pulled muscle is exactly that. And that's what the bodybuilders use it for, is to recover from their exercise. So you may go up to perhaps 4 capsules a day, 6 capsules a day to get to your goal, even as much as 8 capsules a day, and then back off until you get back to where. So you get to your goal, you go up and up and up. And along with this, of course, we talked about our other powerful supplement, and that is garcillin, which is tremendous, and they work synergistically in that sense, and dealing with inflammation and so forth. So the idea is you start low and gradually go up to get your desired response health-wise, and then you start coming back down. Okay, thank you for sharing your experience. And so NAC is also in the store, and with those precautions, but it will not boost your glutathione to the point where the Max 1 will. But believe me, anything is better than nothing. And it is significantly better than if you go to the health food store and get reduced glutathione, which is just going to get chewed up in the stomach anyway.